Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Growth Clinic Podcast. On this episode, we have Oliver Anwar and we discuss how working out makes you lucky, how long he's been training before he started coaching people, mistakes he's made at the gym, understanding the hype around getting shredded, the negatives about being too lean, and what to do if you're skinny fat. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. Alright, Oliver Anwar, welcome to the Growth Clinic Podcast. How are you doing, man?
Hey man, what's going on? Thank you very much for having me on. I'm very excited for today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you. Feels like I'm talking to a celebrity.
Man, I wish I was. Maybe one day, but not quite yet.
Yeah, that's nice. You're being humble. It's good. So tell us a bit about yourself, man.
Sure. So my name's Oliver Amwa. You'll probably know me through Twitter. Most of you guys that are listening. I am a health coach to entrepreneurs and high performers. I've been doing this for the past 6 years now. Yeah. I also have a passion for traveling, exploring the world, just developing myself in many aspects, health, wealth, relationships. And I like to wear floral shirts, which you guys might not be able to see, but yeah, that's another thing that I like. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Yeah, by the way, he's currently wearing one now. So, so what made you decide to coach entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so it's great question. I think it started from when I was at university and I was studying in London, doing business management with global industries. And I was your typical broke student. I didn't have any money, right? Yeah. And I thought, right, I like fitness. I started working out quite a bit. So I thought, let's make a blog. Let's make a website in which I can share a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. So I started doing that. And then I created some fitness packages online for like students to buy because I wanted to make some money, right? Like I was broke. So I did that. And on the first day that I launched, like I got a PayPal notification and some person had bought a package from my website. And I thought, what? This is crazy. Like I'm a student. I've just set up this website and someone's bought something off me. So from then, like it just gave me this kickstart to just really develop my fitness business. I started working with sort of general people, started working with professionals, then executives. And then I began to work with entrepreneurs. And the reason why I love working with entrepreneurs is because they're just so disciplined, man. And like I myself, I understand entrepreneurs because I'm one myself. So I understand like the problems entrepreneurs go through, the high amounts of stress, the amount of stuff they have to get through each day, the lack of time. And, I truly believe that when you're fit and healthy, you're a better entrepreneur and that you can make more money because you've got more willpower, you've got more focus, you've got more energy, more self-confidence, right? All of these things, when they compound, it's going to excel your business and give you a better quality of life. So for me, if helping entrepreneurs is just a very fulfilling thing. And I just love working with guys that are disciplined because the success that they've had in their business, let's say, can be transferred to the success in their health, right? It's the same skills that you need, patience, discipline, consistency, not giving up, those sort of things. So yeah, that's a little bit as to why I coach entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So what if this entrepreneur has no discipline? Let's say he's not made any money. He's just starting out, probably a 9 to 5, and he's putting all his money into starting a business, and he's not made any success and zero discipline, zero nothing. What will you do in that situation?
That's a great question. I probably wouldn't work with that client.
That's crazy. Do you really turn down clients though?
Yeah, so I think this is a thing that, especially recently, as I've started to move my business and scale up, that working with the right clients is very important because you want to work with somebody that is willing to make the change and is going to put in the effort and show up in the gym and with their diet. And, sadly, this isn't a done for you product or program, right? I can't just be like, hey, buy this and you can magically get the results, right? There needs to be effort put in and people have to be on board with that. So, I tend to work with people that are, really, driven to want to make that change and really want my expert help to help them, eat right around a busy schedule, train right, and just have some accountability around, the goals that they have.
Yeah. So I was reading one of your threads. You said that everybody who has started lifting weight has experienced a massive positive change in their lives. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful tweet actually, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of I always say that lifting weights and fitness is the gateway drug to self-improvement, which is true, right? You go to the gym, let's take a person that's not trained and has bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
let them do a year of training, and then tell me if that person is the same afterwards. Of course they're not. They're completely different because they've built these skills that you mentioned there, discipline, persistence, sticking at things when it gets tough, right? All of these skills that they develop turn them into a different person. And then what you can do after this, and what I think is great about fitness, is you can then transfer that into other parts of your life.
Yeah.
So if you could be good with the disciplines and the skills with your fitness, you can then apply that to your relationships as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can carry these skills across to your business or your career, and trying to leave your 9 to 5 or whatever it is, which is why I really love it, because it makes you feel great. Okay, like fitness, I look at it as 3 areas: look great, feel great, be great. Okay. And that's actually the motto I have on the program. So obviously it makes you look good. You get leaner, you get more self-confidence when you go to the beach, you're more attractive, right? It helps your relationships. But then secondly, like, you feel great too, like internally when you're eating the right foods and you're on your training and everything's on point, like you just feel amazing each day, right? You've just got that smile on your face, you've got an upbeat mood about you, all of those things. Then the third one is just like being great, right? When you're healthy and fit, you can perform with your business much more. You can focus, you can lead people better. You've got more willpower, more resilience and things like that. So I really do think that anyone that makes a change to their physical body will see a huge transformation throughout all areas of their life if they stick to it.
Yeah. So let's go back. How long have you been working out?
So I've been working out for over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take you to get so confident in your abilities that you decided to coach other people?
Yeah, so I was probably training for I think it was 5 years probably before I'd even thought
Wow.
about coaching people. Yeah, so I had a lot of experience, and I also made a lot of mistakes as well. So when I was like 20, I know, even when I was 19, I teared my rotator cuff in my shoulder from just bench pressing too wrong, right? Like just doing things completely in the wrong way. And I dieted in the wrong way. I used to starve myself for food. I had a bad relationship with food. I made lots of mistakes actually when it came to my health. But I found that, the more that I learned from those, I could then teach other people to not make the same ones, which is then when I started coaching people.
Yeah. So what were some of these mistakes you made?
Yeah. So I think definitely the first one was, just lifting too heavy and doing like ego lifting, which, you probably see guys right in the gym do. They're quite young and they just want to bench press as much as they can or lift as much as they can with really bad form. And, number one, that's going to get you injured. Okay. You're going to tear your rotator cuff like I did, or injure other parts of your body. The second thing is it's going to not actually stimulate the muscles properly. So if you're only doing small amount of reps, you're not getting enough tension on the muscles that are going to cause you to grow. So you really need to focus on ensuring that, you lift with good form so those things don't happen. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that I made.
Yeah. In terms of the number of times you went to the gym at those early periods, what were they?
So I've probably trained 5 days a week for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you manage that in the long run? Because I've heard so many people talk about how maintaining 5 to 6 times a week is quite difficult and all of those things.
Yeah, it's a great question. So for me, it's always been a priority. So I think with anything that you want to do in life, if you make it a priority, you always find the time. And for me, I wanted to really develop my physique, develop my business. And I knew to do that, I needed to go to the gym to, show people I knew what I was talking about. Right. So I just set a time aside in my calendar to say, hey, this week I've got 5 hours of training to do, and I'm going to do it on these days. And the other 2 days are going to be rest days. And I plan my workouts around my week, not my week. I plan my week around my workouts, not my workouts around my week. So they were a non-negotiable for me. And I think when you can do that, you don't have an excuse then. You know that it's going to be in your timetable, just like waking up, brushing your teeth, right? The same should be with your exercise. That's the way I kind of viewed it.
Yeah. So, and that question is, what is the hype around being shredded? And did you say, I remember in one of your tweets, you said being shredded is overrated. So
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. So when I was 20 and in my early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
I was really very obsessed with just getting as lean as possible. And what I
Yeah.
mean by shredded is like, 4 to like 9% body fat, single digit body fat percentage where you're
Mm-hmm.
very, very lean. And it makes you look good. Don't get me wrong. Like when you have like all of this leanness and these veins and, this amazing body, you think, wow, I look great. Now, the flip side and the issue with that is it makes you feel terrible and has lots of negative impacts on your life.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that it does is it really reduces your testosterone levels. So when you diet down and you're at a low percent body fat for a long time, your
Mm-hmm.
testosterone levels will drop. So your sex drive will drop. You just don't feel as driven each day and motivated to work, which is never good.
Yeah.
The second thing that it really does, and that I think is very bad, is it makes you and forces you to be obsessed with food. So to
Yeah.
get very, very lean, you have to have your diet to such an extreme point where, you're weighing your food every single day. You're making sure that you're cooking it in the right oil,
Yeah.
the right sauce. You're not having cheap meals and things like that. And it's a very kind of rigid and robotic way to live. And, temporarily, okay, maybe you can do that, but long term you're just not having any fun in your life if you're
Yeah.
doing that and being that obsessed. And that's what I found as a young guy who was very sociable. I kind of cut myself off from a lot of the social events that I did, a lot of my friends, and it affected my relationships in a bad way because I was just so robotic and, you could say, boring in what I was doing. Another thing that it really does and why it's overrated is girls don't even like it, man. It's a crazy thing, right? A lot of guys, they get in great shape to want to attract girls,
Yeah.
but they actually don't like it when you're that shredded because they're like, ooh, it's disgusting, right? There's too much, right? Like that's what they say. And again, like those social parts of like not being able to eat out, not being able to do fun stuff, not being able to, travel and drink alcohol and do all this kind of fun stuff that girls like, right? They like spontaneous guys. You can't do because you're just trying to get shredded, right? So there's a lot of negatives to it. And what I always say to people now is, fine to get lean, but just don't get shredded. Try and get to around, 10-15% body fat, which is like the optimal for a man. That way you're going to look great, you're going to feel great, you're going to be great, but you're also just going to be able to have a good life too. And, still enjoy that donut, that extra bit of food, a few drinks without feeling guilty.
Yeah. So you, what's the ideal body type for women? What body type do women like the most from your perspective?
Oh, I don't know. Well, women say one thing and they want
Right.
another,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that probably 10 to 15% is a good range because that's kind of like the beach body look. So a guy that's kind of quite, like Baywatch, like a Baywatch kind of like look. I think a lot of girls like that and is attractive. Yeah, I think if you're obviously too overweight or too underweight, then I think that can have, negative views of people. So I think if you just generally look normal, but quite lean and not overweight or not too shredded, I think that's the best look.
Yeah. So people with skinny fat, what do you think is the first thing they should go do first? Should they build muscles or lose fat?
Really good question. So I get asked this all the time, by people. They say, I'm skinny fat. What should I do? So I think the first thing that you need to do as a skinny fat person is ensure that you've got your food in the right place. So you don't actually want to focus on bulking or cutting. You want to focus on like eating to kind of maintain your weight with a slight calorie deficit, which basically means a small amount of calories below what you maintain your weight on. Now, what this is going to allow you to do is drop the body fat, and then that excess body fat that you have in your body can be used as energy to then build muscle. So to build muscle, what you then need to do is ensure that you're weight training. So you need to be lifting 3 to 5 times a week in the gym and try and progressively just get stronger on that. So ensure that, you're lifting more sets, more reps, more weight over time. That's going to be really useful. Another thing that's important is to eat enough protein. So ensure that you've got a good amount of protein in your body to ensure you can build muscle whilst obviously dropping the body fat. So I always recommend 1 gram per pound of body weight, which is useful. If you're 160 pounds, you should have around 160 grams of protein. Another thing that I think should be really important for people is recovery. So you need to make sure you're getting good sleep, 7 to 8 hours sleep a night if you can, because that's when your body's going to recover. You're going to build more muscle, and then you're obviously going to drop that fat a lot easier when you're not stressed. What happens when you don't sleep is your body releases something called cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which you've probably heard of, and that actually stops you from losing fat. So you don't want to do that. And I think the final thing is just making sure you are consistent with your training. So everything that I spoke about, just stay consistent with that for like 6 to 12 months, and don't lose sight of the end goal. If you can be consistent with that and do all those things, then you'll definitely get some results.
Yeah, another question I get in my DMs is people asking me for motivation to keep showing up at the gym every day.
Sure. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I have here. I think the first one is like, what is your goal? Like the goal that you want should motivate you to want to get there. So whether that is getting in shape for a wedding, okay, maybe you've got a wedding coming up, maybe you're going on a holiday, or maybe you're just generally not happy with the way you look. And for me, like, I don't always, I think motivation is the wrong thing to look at. You shouldn't be looking at motivation all the time, because as people, we're not always motivated. Like for me to do business, sometimes I'm just not motivated to get up and work, but you do it anyway because you have to. And that's the way I kind of look at it when it comes to the gym. It shouldn't be a discipline or a chore. It should be a necessity that you should do because it's good for you and it gives you a benefit. And if you're not happy with where you are in life and what's going on and how you feel about yourself, that is the best motivation ever, right? To say, I want to get out of this hole that I'm in and develop and grow myself, because there's no other way to deal with that problem aside from taking action and going to the gym, right? So you just have to knuckle down and do it.
Yeah. So another question is, which is better, training alone or training with a gym partner?
Oh, great question. Great question. So, it varies for me, because I sometimes like to train on my own because I just want some space to myself, especially if I've had a busy day and stress, and you probably get that as well, right?
Yeah.
But I think most of the time, if you can train with somebody else, it's actually going to help you, like a training partner, because they're going to be a way to push you. And even like you said, like about motivation, they can push you on those days that you don't feel so motivated, because they'll keep you accountable. So I think a mix is quite good, to be honest. I don't know if there's a better or worse in that respect.
So final question, in terms of dieting, how do you share your food in terms of their nutrients? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How do you go for carbs early morning, protein in the afternoon, or how do you do it?
Great question, man. Really good one. So I'll run you through my diet at the minute. So the way that I typically work is in the morning, I'll kind of wake up and I'll have like a protein shake or a protein bar. So I like to have something protein heavy in the morning and actually get something in my stomach. But I don't want anything too carb heavy because I tend to train like in the afternoon. So I'll typically have something protein based in the morning with minimal carbs, have a coffee, lots of water. And then it will get to around lunchtime where I'll kind of have my first like lunchtime meal, which will be like a bagel with some chicken sausages and some eggs. And again, that's nice and high in protein, but it's also got a good amount of carbs in there to fuel my workout. I'll then hit my workout around 3 p.m. And then I'll come home after that around 4, 5 and have like my post-workout meal. So that's going to contain usually like lean mincemeat, lots of vegetables to get some nutrients, and also some rice and carbohydrates to replenish my body after working out. Then in the evening, I'll usually have some chicken, again with some rice and vegetables, and then a couple of eggs to go with that. Too. So it's a very kind of high protein approach to the diet, but it allows me to eat a nice amount of vegetables. Most of my carbs are later in the day when I need them. And I just find that this typically works really well for me.
Yeah. You spoke about taking your protein shake immediately you wake up, but I've read somewhere that it's best to take it after workout because of your anabolic window or something.
Okay. So that's a bit of a myth. You don't really need to take protein shakes after you work out. The anabolic window doesn't really exist, to be honest. You can, as long as you're hitting a good amount of protein throughout the course of the day and throughout the course of the week, you'll be fine. So definitely focus on the total protein number and ensuring you're just hitting your protein daily target instead of kind of like worrying about the anabolic window, because lots of research there says it doesn't really exist.
All right. So, what is your supplement of choice? Creatine, whey protein.
Question.
Mhm.
So my favorite or the most important supplement to take, I think, is creatine. So this is, one of the most researched supplements out there, and it's going to help with, increasing your strength, better performance, and just ensuring that you can push yourself in the gym with your lifts. So creatine monohydrate is the best. I typically like to take 5 grams per day in the powder form. Just drink lots of water with that and keep taking it each day, and that will skyrocket your strength gains and is probably one of the most effective supplements out there.
All right, man. Last question. Do you think you ever stop working out?
Oh man, never. Never ever. I'll be on my deathbed and I'll still be doing some bicep curls or something, man.
All right, man. Where can people find you on the internet?
Great. So you can find me on mainly Twitter. So my username is now the Oliver Anwar, and the same as Instagram. And then if you search Oliver Anwar on YouTube, you'll find me on there as well.
All right, man. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey guys, thanks for